All right, we have graphed equations using a t-chart, and we have also figured out the slope of a line when we have a line on a graph, and we've also figured it out when we have a couple of points. Now we're going to come back to this equation that we talked about before that we were going to start using for a line and put the pieces in where they need to go. And just a quick reminder of what this equation is about, and this is something that you'll see all the time throughout your high school, college, those kind of math things that you look at is this is an equation for a straight line, y equals mx plus b. The m stands for slope, and the b stands for the y-intercept. And what I put over here is, and you'll see this later, is the y-intercept just means where it crosses the y-axis, or where it crosses on that vertical line on the graph. And this says plus b, but there's a possibility it could be minus b depending on if it's in the negatives or not. If it's a positive where it crosses, it's going to be plus, and if it's a negative where it crosses, it's going to be minus. So when I come down here, all I've done right here is I've just shown you where these things go into the equation. So for instance, right here, if you know that the slope is -5/1, that goes where the slope goes right here. So I put it down here as -5x. I didn't put the 1 underneath it because that would be it simplified down. So you just have to understand that there is going to be a 1 underneath it, but I won't write it on there if it's just a whole number. And then it crosses at 4 on the y-axis. So again, that's where that place goes right here, so it's just +4. Over here, my slope is 2/3, so that goes in the slope part right here, 2/3 x, and then my y-intercept is where it crosses, which is this -5 here. It crosses y at -5. We're going to go through a few situations here, a couple of them where you have a graph, a couple of them where you just have points and you'll have to make a graph. And then we're going to use this information to form your own equation. All right, here's the first line. And again, what we need to do is we need to get the parts to our formula that we need. And we need the slope and we need the y-intercept. Now, I'm just going to start with the y-intercept because that's clearly outlined in this graph. Where does it cross the y-axis? Remember, this is the x-axis, so we don't care where it crosses here. We care where it crosses on the y-axis. And on the y-axis, it crosses at -2. So I'm going to get rid of my plus b here, and since it's negative, it's going to be minus, and that would be the end part of my equation is -2. Now over here, we need the slope. And again, remember the slope was we had a couple of points. We figured out first whether it was a negative or positive slope. This one is going to be positive because it goes from bottom left to top right. And then we figured out how many up and how many over it was, or how many down and how many over it was. So I can just pick 2 points on this graph, but you have to find ones that cross perfectly. And then if you have this, like to just use this y-intercept right here because I know that crosses perfectly right there. And then if I need another place where it crosses perfectly at, that would be a place we could use. That could be a place we could use. It doesn't matter as long as you pick one that crosses perfectly. So my pattern here is first I want to figure out how many up first. That's what our slope was. How many up and down was always first, and how many right and left is always second. So if I go up, 1, 2, 3. 3 up to get even with this. So my first number of my slope is going to be 3, and then it's right 1 to get there, so my second number is going to be 3. So I could just write the slope as whole number of 3 because it's 3/1. Now keep in mind, if I would have picked this point and this point, you still get the same thing because the pattern is up 3, right 1, or down 3, left 1 along this line. So if I were to do from here to here, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That would be 9 up to here, and then it'd be 1, 2, 3 to get over. So that's 9/3. That's still 3. So this is our pattern right here. Up 3, right 1. Up 3, right 1. Up 3, right 1. The pattern just continues. So over here where I have my slope, I'm going to just insert, I'm not going to put 3/1. You could put 3/1, but most people, you would just see it simplified as 3, and people would assume that it's 3 over 1. So I'll just put my 3 in there. That is my equation for this line. Now, interestingly enough, I just want to make sure that you understand that what I just did there, if I did the t-chart like we did in the first part, it'll work for this line right here. So let's say I do this t-chart where I have x and y, and I pick out a couple points in this graph. Well, here's one right here. That's 2, 4. Okay, let's see if that works. 2 times 3 is 6, minus 2 is 4. That works. Let's see if this one works. That would be -1, -5. -1 times 3 is -3. Take away 2 more is going to be -5. So that works as well. So all we did here was we found the y-intercept where it crosses the y-axis. That goes here. We then figured out our slope, calculate our slope. That goes here.